Okay, here we have one of Mercedes' better looking cars. I will begin by telling you about something that just happened. It is a very frosty day. It's a freezing fog day, in fact, and I just came around a corner and the back end slipped on this car. Now, the traction control is on, but even though the traction control was on, it would have been very, very easy to have lost control of the car. And considering I wasn't doing more than about 10 miles an hour, I find that quite discouraging, because obviously the traction control is not working to the standard that it probably should be. If I had made that same maneuver in a BMW with the ASC or the DSC, I wouldn't have had the same issue. The car would not have slipped so much. So I wasn't too impressed with that, and maybe we'll do a quick start in the moment and just see how effective it is at all. Now obviously this is one of the better looking cars. It is very small inside, it's very claustrophobic. It would certainly take a lot to get used to. It's a very confined space. It's a very small sports car stroke roadster. But looking beyond that, it's immediately visible once you're in the car that it is very well put together, and it's a nice tidy package too. There's nothing cheap or gnarly about it. A lot of these Mercedes nowadays have real nasty plastic dashboards and stuff, but this one is very compact and it's very nicely laid out, and maybe a few areas are a little bit cheap, like these chrome dials on the speedo dials and stuff. Generally speaking, it feels like it's been put together very nicely. It feels like something that's built fast. It doesn't by any means though break out into the stellar regions of luxury and stuff like that. I think Mercedes are slipping up a little bit. Now this is the diesel. It's a funny car to have a diesel, but it does seem to work. The only thing that ruins it really is the sound of that horrible diesel. The more I drive this car, the more I get to like it. It does have a good sporty car feel to it. We are very low. The only thing I don't like about a car this size is if you were in a crash, you don't feel quite as comfortable as you do in a bigger car. Now let's do a bit of a 60 test here. Okay, maybe a diesel, but I can tell you now this car flies. Zooms along. Quite a talky little car too. Kickdown's very slow, but then when it does come in, the car literally takes off. It's got bags of power. It's obviously a very light car, it's a very small car. Now one thing about Mercedes, the brakes are usually fantastic, so I'm going to do a firm stop now, not an emergency stop, just to see what it balances out like. And this is no exception. Fantastic brakes, perfectly balanced, no rippy, grabby discs, everything is perfect synchronization. But it just doesn't sound right with that engine. I do find it hard to imagine how Mercedes have got such a quick car out of a diesel. It has to be said. Let's just see just how quick it is. Do a 0-60 test. 3, 2, 1, 0. Traction control came in then and worked. 60. Well, I have to say that's very impressive. The moment I realised this was diesel, I thought, oh god, here we go. If you can get past that, I would say, unappealing sound of the diesel, what you have here is actually quite an amazing little car. It's very stylish. I think it's more of a, I'm going to be politically correct when I say this, I think it's more of a woman's sports car because of the size and the petiteness of it. But I have to say, once you get in this car, it certainly is a great car to drive. It certainly is a great car to drive. It just keeps on going. It's relentless. You know, I have to say, I actually like this car. I think this car is superb. I think it's fantastic. Its downside, there's a few little cheap tacky bits around here. It doesn't have that prestige quality feel to it, but the drive is certainly prestigious. But for some strange reason, it's very easy to get the back end out on this car, and the traction control doesn't help you with that. Okay, accelerating, fine, it does. But you go around a corner too fast, too much power, and even with the traction control, this car is going to come out. But I think if you're interested in buying one of these cars, you already made your mind up, and to be fair, if you can get past the little bits of tackiness here, the claustrophobic side, the tininess of it, it is actually really quite a cool car.